I want to talk about the Me Too movement and Trump and porn stars and all sorts of good stuff. So let's start with Trump and porn stars. So as I mentioned yesterday, there's a 5,500 word interview that's about to break from a woman named what is her name now? Daniels. Her name is Stormy Daniels, which is always a great way to come up with a porn name, right? Just come up with a weather condition followed by a first name, right? So Cloudy Ryan, right? Over here would be Overcast Bob. It's not the greatest porn name. That one you're probably not going to get hired with. But in any case, this porn star is supposed to give an interview in which she fully describes the president in the boudoir, which, I mean, frankly, this is the first time Trump has ever not wanted that to happen. Back in the 1980s, Trump used to pose as a guy named John Miller. He'd get on the phone with reporters and be like, "Hey guys, this is John Miller." And they'd be like, "Is this Donald Trump?" No, it's not. I just had sex with a supermodel. Be like, "Really? Which supermodel?" Be like, "Carla Bruni. She was amazing." They'd go to Carla Bruni and she'd be like, "I have no idea who this guy is or what the hell he's talking about." And they'd be like, "Well, Trump says that he's the best sex anyone ever had," right? John Miller says it. I know this John Miller guy sounds exactly like Trump, but he says that he's unbelievable in bed. Carla Bruni, what do you say? She's like, "I don't know. I don't." So it's been great. Trump literally used to call up tabloids and brag about the people he was dating, and he wasn't dating like 3/4 of them. Now he's paying women to shut up. So apparently in 2016 he paid Stormy Daniels, who's obviously he was obviously into her because of her higher intellect and conversational ability. She is a porn star. She has sex for money on camera, so obviously of high quality. And the president has a particular taste in women overall. And so she is supposed to give a 5,500 word interview in which she also describes, I guess the 2011 interview they're now releasing, in which she describes the president's genitals, which is just, the only person in America excited about this is Marco Rubio to find out whether his theories about hand size were in fact correct. But all of this is happening and no one cares. Hey, this is the funny thing. No one cares. So I'm old enough, like this week was the 20th anniversary of the Lewinsky scandal, in which the president of the United States had a consensual affair with a 21-year-old intern. And everyone went nuts. I was there. I remember it. Right? Everyone thought, what an immoral piece of garbage this Bill Clinton is. Now we have a president of the United States who is supported by 80% of evangelical Christians and has sex with porn stars while he is married to another woman who he was having sex with while he was married to another woman who he was having sex with while he was married to another woman. Right, you can follow this Inception-like sex life. Okay, by the time you get to the original level of the dream, all that is, you're an old man waiting in pain and despair. In any case, no one cares, right? No one cares. Like, you don't care, I don't care, no one cares. So here's why no one cares. Okay, here's my theory of President Trump. In economics, there's something called the efficient market hypothesis. The efficient market hypothesis is a hypothesis that suggests you cannot beat the stock market. So all of these people who tell you that if you day trade and you find the inefficiencies in the market, you can make millions, right? All these people who are selling programs to you online about this is how you beat the market. You cannot beat the market. This is the efficient market hypothesis. The reason being, there are literally millions of people who spend their day analyzing every bit of information that is coming out from every single company, and then that is priced in, right? It's baked into the cake. It's baked into the cake. And so stock market shocks usually happen when there's a change in government policy or when there's a downturn in government policy and new information is added to the system. That's why the market goes up and down. But the idea that you can beat the market because you know the market better than anybody else is just not true. The evidence for the efficient market hypothesis is that if you take the people who are the top hedge fund managers at any given point, if you take the people who are the top stock pickers at any given firm in 1 year, by the next year, the chances are that they are actually the lowest on the totem pole. Right? People are, there's the chances that somebody remains the best stock picker 10 years in a row is almost nil. People tend to bounce around a lot. So they'll have one great year, and if they're lucky, that great year is where they spent the most money and bought the most stock or sold the most stock. And then they'll have 5 really crappy years because there will be regression to the mean. And this is true. If you actually look at the performance of stock, the suggestion is you're better off investing in stock indices than you are in stock picking. And that is traditional kind of common knowledge in the stock community and in the investment community. If you ask somebody for investment advice, this is typically what they will say at one of the big firms like Goldman Sachs. They'll tell you, take your money, stick it in the stock market, leave it there. That's why Warren Buffett didn't lose a lot of money in the stock market in 2007, 2008, because he continued buying stock. Right? My stock plan, just so folks know, is that I buy a certain set amount of stock every month, rain or shine. It does not matter. I tend to buy higher risk stocks. There's like a basket of higher risk stocks I tend to pick because I can afford to lose some money. If I lose some money, I'm 33, or now I'm 34. My birthday was this week. So I can afford to lose a little bit of money and then make that money back. But what I do is I'm constantly buying stock, and I never sell stock, right? I just never sell it, because if you hold on to it, the good news is if the market goes down, I just bought really cheap. And if the market goes down, I didn't sell really cheap. So my stock portfolio is always going up so long as overall the market is going up. That's the basic idea of the stock market and the efficient market hypothesis. There are a few different versions. There's the strong efficient market hypothesis, which suggests legitimately you cannot beat the market. And then there is the semi-strong version of the efficient market hypothesis, which suggests that publicly available information, you can't beat the market. But insider information, you could beat the market. The strong efficient market hypothesis says even insider information is priced in because there are people who are inside these companies trading stock of these companies, so the information is going to come out anyway. That's actually the case against having insider trading laws. There are a bunch of libertarians who believe insider trading laws are actually negative because they prevent, like if I know Daily Wire is going down the tubes, I'm going to sell my stock. That's a hint to everybody else that they should sell their stock too. Whereas if I were prevented from using my knowledge about Daily Wire, then that would prevent the market from knowing the knowledge. That's the case for insider trading. So there's the strong, the semi-strong, and the weak. The weak basically says that you might be able to defeat the market on an occasional basis, but you're not going to be able to do it very often, essentially. Here's my theory about Trump. Here's why I'm talking about this. My theory about Trump is a strong, efficient market hypothesis. There is no information, none, that changes your view of Trump. None, zero, literally anything. Anything in the world could happen that President Trump could do, or it could be said about him, or there could be a report about him, and nothing could change people's views of the President of the United States, because it's all baked into the cake now. And this is actually his strength, and it's also his weakness, right? His weakness is that it's very hard to convince people that you're somebody that you're not when everybody has a strong opinion on you. The strength is that when you're hit by porn star was paid off to the tune of 130 grand in 2016, everybody goes, eh. Right? Because it's already baked in. That was already information that we already knew. We already knew who this guy was. Character is the efficient market hypothesis. We already know Trump's character. Everybody already has a judgment. And evangelical Christians are going to say, listen, I know the guy's a scumbag when it comes to his personal sexual morality. Did I ever pretend otherwise? Like, we already knew that. But King David, I mean, come on. King David was just like that. Or they will say that's the worst version, right? That's the Jerry Falwell Jr. version. Then there's the secondary version, which is, yeah, I know the guy's a bit of a douchebag, but at least he's trying to stop abortion, right? I mean, he's going to speak this week in good Trump news. He's going to speak this week at the March for Life, or he's going to go to the Rose Garden and give an address and then appear on the big screens at the March for Life. Right? The guy's defending my priorities, so even if he's sticking his wing in places I wouldn't, right, then so what, right? It's baked into the cake. So there was a whole, after I issued this efficient market hypothesis theory yesterday online, there were a whole group of people trying to debunk it. Jonathan Last over at the Weekly Standard was saying, is there anything Trump can do? Like, for example, what if he selected some bad liberal judges? And what I said is, no, that's already priced into the market. All that will happen is his supporters will say, listen, he wanted to appoint a conservative, but the Republicans just they're too weak-kneed in their support for him. He had to find a way to compromise and move to the middle so he can win re-election. Right? They'll make an excuse, in other words. What if Trump committed murder? Right? Let's take his theory. He shot someone on Fifth Avenue. Most people in his base would say, guy probably deserved it. Right? Most people who don't like him would say, you know, Trump spent 71 years on this earth not shooting people. You think he just shoots somebody for no legitimate reason at all? I mean, he's volatile. We all know who he is. We all know who he is the efficient market hypothesis. The problem is that if this is true in politics, if my theory is correct, that there is a strong efficient market hypothesis that applies to characters like Trump, but doesn't apply to cleaner characters, it's a serious problem for our politics. If you cannot change your view of a man based on new evidence, if your judgment of his character is so set in stone that nothing can change it, right? If on this, people like me who think that he's deficient in character, if Trump made an open confession of all of his sins and decided to turn over a new leaf and started talking like a statesman, could I change his my position on his character? If the answer is no, then I'm so set in my ways it's a problem. And the problem is this. Let's say somebody good, Mitt Romney, runs for president. The strong, efficient market hypothesis no longer holds. Right? Any piece of information about him will change people's minds because he's seen as clean. The cleaner you are, the less is baked into the cake. People do not give good people the benefit of the doubt. They give bad people the benefit of the doubt because they already knew they were bad. If you are good, everyone wants to see you come down a peg. So if you're Mitt Romney and you're basically, personally a saint, I mean, Mitt Romney is about as good a person as run for president of the United States, and then anything comes out about you, anything, right? You strap the dog to the top of your car. It's the end of the world, right? Suddenly, it's a new piece of information in the market, and you start ping-ponging around in the polls. And so there's something to be said for the idea that Trump is stable, not because he's a stable genius, but because everybody has essentially made up their mind about him and nothing is going to change. Okay, in terms of social censure for unpopular opinions that are true, this is an astonishingly bad story. So there's a woman who's a porn star, or was a porn star. Her name was August Ames, and she's 23. She was found dead from an apparent suicide after she was bullied and branded a homophobe for refusing to shoot with a man who has sex with men on camera. She made it clear she was not homophobic. Apparently she's bisexual, or was bisexual, but she said that she wasn't going to do it for safety reasons. So law enforcement sources said that Ames was found early Tuesday morning in Camarillo. She was pronounced dead at the scene. We're told there's no indication of foul play or any other crime occurring. Toxicology tests are being conducted while the death is investigated. Close friends say she had suffered from long-term depression, and they believe a recent incident with online harassment may have contributed to her death. The backlash was fierce when she took to Twitter on Sunday to warn women who had been tapped to replace her at Erotica X that the man she'd be working with has filmed with other men. She said, whichever lady performer is replacing me tomorrow for Erotica X News, you're shooting with a guy who has shot gay porn, just to let you know. BS is all I can say. Do agents really not care about who they're representing? I do my homework for my body. She was ridiculed as homophobic. She wrote, not homophobic. Most girls don't shoot with guys who have shot gay porn for safety. That's just how it is with me. I'm not putting my body at risk. I don't know what they do in their private lives. She says, how am I homophobic if I myself am attracted to women? Not wanting to have sex with gay men is not homophobic. They don't want to have sex with me either, so bye. Okay, that seems to me completely fair, but the point that she's making here is a statistically true one. Okay, the rates of STDs among men who have sex with men are significantly higher than they are among men who have sex with women, right? STDs among men who have sex with men are much, much higher. They just are. And the idea that a homosexual man or a man who's had sex with men is going to have sex with a woman, it increases her risk. It increases her risk pretty dramatically, actually. I'm looking up some of the statistics, if I can find them, from some of the more recent CDC statistics. So let's see. Let's see if we can find something really quick here. So gay, bisexual, and other men who have had, this is according to CDC, gay, bisexual, other men who have had sex with men are 17 times more likely to get anal cancer than heterosexual men. Gay and bisexual men are significantly more likely to have other forms of STDs. CDC recommends sexually active gay and bisexual men test for HIV at least once a year. Hepatitis C, hepatitis B, gonorrhea, chlamydia. Right? The rates are they're higher because they're higher. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that. And so the idea that this woman was basically run off Twitter and then she committed suicide over this, it demonstrates the insanity of the social censoring that goes on social media like Twitter. People digging up tweets that are 10 years old, or finding a tweet that you said yesterday that's completely innocuous and then taking it out of context in order to hurt you. It's just overboard. It's all overboard, and people need to rein it in. There's a digital lynch mob that exists now.